Ring, ring, ring. You know what time it is. We got the boys in the stew and you know, we're friends and being friends right now on our own show, The Phone Booth, the round one special. Man, I got a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
Let's go. All right, this is what we've been waiting for. This is the moment we've been waiting for.
This is the moment we've been waiting for with
And we
a
have to
new
talk
addition, ladies and gentlemen. A new addition. We call this the playoff wheel. We got all the playoff teams who played, and we're going to spin the wheel to see who we're going to talk about. So let us show you. I'm going to show you guys so you can have live wheel reactions. Ready?
Let's look at this wheel.
Ready, boys? Who are we going to talk about first? Spin that wheel, baby. Come on.
All right,
Come on. Come on.
Wheel.
Oh,
Ooh, this
no.
is all right. This is a good one to start with, since this was one of the weaker ones, in my opinion.
One of the weaker
The
ones.
entire
and the
explanation of this series was, I'll just say it in one sentence. You know, they got KD, but we got Jaden McDaniels.
That's facts. The Suns got bitched in 4 games. It was 4 games, right? Suns got bitched in 4 games.
Clean sweep.
Guys, what did we think about it? Who do we think comes out with the W? What do we think happens with the Suns? What do we think about Anthony Edwards? Like, just give me your thoughts.
I will say, we were a little hard on the Timberwolves recently.
We were hating the T-Wolves the whole time. We thought they were the fraud squad.
Do not look and mark my words. Do not look and mark my words.
Not only did we think that they were going to get bounced out of round 1, I personally thought they were going to get clowned on, embarrassed. I thought that the T-Wolves were going to get swept, not the Suns.
Yeah. I didn't think they would get swept because Anthony Edwards existing on that team.
Well,
he's amazing.
Can we also say
Reaper?
I didn't think that the Suns were gonna get swept.
I thought they would at least get a game.
Definitely not.
I thought they were gonna get a game or two, even after the first 2, where it was like, okay, this is kind of the Wolves series to lose, right? I was sitting there like, they gotta win 1 at home, right? Nah, they got bitched by maybe the best player in the league. I know that might be a little bit too far, but that was pure dominance by the T-Wolves. And listen, I'm going to say something that I don't often say. Cat, I was not familiar with your game. I wasn't.
Oh, no.
Anthony Edwards is right. If Cat doesn't foul out, which has always been my main criticism with Cat, is that he fouls out all the time in important games. When he doesn't foul out in that second half, he is the most important player on the floor. He'll hit threes. He'll space the floor. He'll go to the rim. He does everything.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think the Suns should do?
I mean, is there anything they can do other than just blow it up? Just give it up?
I think you got to blow it up.
I saw a stat where it was like they don't have a first-round pick in 24, in 25, in 26.
Yeah.
And then they don't have
They are
picks
the
until
Brooklyn Nets right now. They are the Brooklyn Nets.
That's 100% true.
currently.
But the Nets are at least in a spot to rebuild, you know?
How? They have no
Like
one
the
and no
Suns-
picks.
They have no one and no picks, but they're in the spot where they know it's coming.
They at least have
Suns-
something called younger players.
Yeah, the Suns are only those 3 players, and even then, it's really only 2.
You don't think they
KD's
can
gonna leave in
retool around?
half a second.
You don't think they can
No,
retool
KD
around
wants
Booker?
out. KD wants out. And
What super team is KD going to go to
I love
next?
D-Book. I'm a D-Book guy.
The Knicks.
But I don't think they'll be able to. I don't think they'll be able to rebuild around him. I don't know what free agents want to go to Phoenix after this, after seeing them lose in the finals, then get bounced by the Nuggets, by the Mavs, and then now by the T-Wolves. I don't think anyone wants to be a part of Phoenix culture.
Hey guys, one moment. I'm looking phone booth quickly.
Oh no.
That's not happening.
That'll happen.
But
That'll happen.
it'll happen toward the end of his
am I
career.
wrong?
He's gonna shack
Am I
it
wrong?
up. He's gonna shack it
Celtics
up.
KD,
He's gonna-
Celtics Shaq, like the same thing. He can't score
Yeah.
anymore. He's useless.
Wait, hold on. Let me cook again.
Stop cooking, bro. You're gonna burn down the kitchen.
Yeah.
What
And
super team is KD
everyone
going to
was
go to
saying-
next, guys?
Everyone was
Who's
saying
gonna
immediately
chase
after
for another
he's
year?
already out.
If they lose to the
was
T-Wolves,
already
he might go
saying,
there.
Hold on.
Everyone's saying. Like, KD wants to be on the T-Wolves so bad, and it would be disgusting. T-Wolves would then have 3 kind of elite big men, just like too many 7-footers. But
But they can all
I
hit,
don't think
well,
it's
two of them can hit threes, so it's kind of
Two of them can
crazy.
hit threes. Yeah, but they don't need it. Like, the T-Wolves are already winning without KD, and
to
probably
think-
KD drags them down, I would argue,
To think
because, yeah.
the
God,
Timberwolves
that's cursed.
would only have to give up Naz Reid to get KD. That's all they'd have to do. No first rounds, no
Okay.
other players, just a 1-for-1 KD for Naz Reid trade.
No, because give up one of the league's biggest superstars for the 6th man of the year. I don't think the Suns take that.
Holy
Yeah, you're
shit.
right. T-Wolves lose that trade.
So I just found a
Wolves do lose
very
that.
old picture. This is a very old picture. Look
Here's-
at this.
Before anything,
This could have happened.
Yo. What would
KD
that have
never went to
done?
Four
Phoenix?
picks.
What would that have
All
done?
first rounders.
If
All
KD never
first
went to
rounders.
Phoenix,
Here's what I'm gonna say. I think that Phoenix is not in a nearly as bad a
Impossible
situation as
spot.
people think. I think
No,
they have
because-
2 star players on on bad contracts, right? Like KD and
Booker.
well, not KD, just Bradley Beal is a bad contract. I think you can get rid of that. I think there is a team who's
you could restructure.
well, yeah. I think trading Bradley Beal and KD is the solution. I think you get rid of those contracts. You can go out and sign people who are good next to Booker. It would take a while for them to meld, but yeah, I think that Booker in that Phoenix team, obviously he's the cornerstone of their franchise. He's been there for since 2015. He's a lifelong Sun till this point. They're saying that he wants out. If I was Booker, I'd want out too after going to a finals and then they blow up every young piece that took you there to bring in KD and fucking Bradley Beal.
And
I'd be
lose,
upset
and then
too.
bring in Bradley Beal, give up everything else, and lose.
Like they gave up Mikal Bridges, Cam Thomas. Like that was
Yeah,
most of their young
those
core
are
that they
young
gave
core.
up. They gave up everybody. And like everybody on that team is on a different team besides Booker. Isn't that crazy to think about? Everyone who was on that Suns team is either out of the league or on a different team, except for
Yeah.
Booker. I think they're not in nearly bad of a situation as they like to think they are. I think they're a couple trades and a couple good signings away from being a better team.
But honestly, I don't think the management is going to make those right calls, good trades, and good acquisitions.
I agree with you.
Because getting Durant, like trading everything for Durant, and then when that doesn't immediately work, trading even more of everything to get Beal, it's just so short-minded. And they lost to the T-Wolves. They were fairly competitive in the West, but honestly, they could have gotten bounced if everyone else was just like a little bit stronger. I don't even know who in the first round they could have beat except maybe like injured Pels, honestly.
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts.
Let's not talk about
Seeing-
the Pels yet. We need to wait for the wheel
Yeah,
to talk.
I know, but just seeing how like competitive all of the first round games were, it was like crazy to think that the Suns arguably looked the worst out of everyone,
Which
in
is
the West.
surprising, I would
Yeah.
say, compared to anyone.
And they have 3 elite players. And D-Book was still great, and KD was still great, and they were just getting mopped up and down the floor.
Yeah.
And what's ironic to me is, and I know we're not supposed to talk, let the wheel decide. We saw 2 teams get swept in the West, and it was the Lakers and the Suns. And I don't know why, but the Lakers didn't get swept,
Oh,
right? They took a game?
The Lakers didn't get
Then
swept.
never mind.
They
Never
did
mind.
take
Never
a
mind.
game.
My point is completely
No,
moot.
We saw another.
The
we saw
Pels-
another.
Oh yeah,
we
the
saw
Pels
swept,
got
but
swept.
That's different. That's different.
That's also
That goes
different.
against
Yeah,
the point.
both of those. I was gonna be like, I felt like even though the Lakers got swept, like they were still putting up more of a fight than the Suns did. But it doesn't make sense if they took a game.
Yeah, they actually put up more of a fight than the Suns did.
And before we move on to another
And against-
team, huge props to the organization of the T-Wolves. I thought they messed up huge with that Rudy Gobert trade last year. I thought it really made no sense to have Cat and Gobert, who are 2, at least till this season, known playoff chokers. But Anthony Edwards makes the whole team better. Jalen McDaniels is out there looking like fucking Scottie Pippen. So maybe they have the team of the future. And you know what? I'm not going to... I know I've been speaking contradictory the entire season, but if I'm an NBA fan, I'm putting some stock into the T-Wolves, and I'm saying a championship in 3 years. If not,
Yeah, can I do have a point for this, right? At the start of the season, it was like Anthony Edwards. And then once a player gets to a certain level and they have to say his name a bunch on like NBA media, they'll give him like the short nickname, which was just Ant, and then everyone called him Ant, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what I've noticed is when a player gets truly like beyond elite, they'll add an extra syllable, right? Because it's like, oh, Kobe Bryant, then just to one syllable Kobe, then, you know, the Black Mamba, right? Everyone calls Ant-Man in the media now. It's like an Ant-Man with the 3. I thought it was a stupid nickname. I was like, why are they calling him that? That's a really stupid nickname. I get it now. Guy looked like an actual superhero on the court.
No, I think Little Jordan's better than that.
Little Jordan, but that's like fans call him that.
I don't like that at all.
Pretty
no, it's
great
a theory,
comparison for Kobe, honestly. Mm-hmm. No, shut up. I hate. Okay, to the listeners at home, I hate that every single playoff someone goes, "It's Jordan's son. It's Jordan's son. He's in the playoffs. He's in the playoffs."
And wanna know what's crazy? It's 3 people. Yeah, it's like.
Yeah.
No, there's a real one for this one though. That's a real thing.
Shut up.
Oh, dude, you're right.
Jordan had 3 sons, and they all.
Jordan had secret
the real
children
one is
and
Peyton
was born.
Pritchett, bro.
Oh, Peyton Pritchett.
All right, the wheel is coming back. That's enough of T-Wolves talk. Shout outs to the T-Wolves. They played a great series. And hey, for the Suns, really enjoy your rebuilding Cancun, buddy. Spin that wheel, baby. Come on, give us a good series.
All right, who's going to Cancun next? Oh,
okay. This is one of the best series, maybe if not the best, I would say.
I would say second best. This one series I like a little bit more.
What do you guys
one series I like
feel about the Mavs and the Clippers? Do you think that here's my first thing. We've been seeing a lot of attention in the media about Paul George leaving. Do you think if Paul George leaves, they should just blow it up, or do you think Harden and Kawhi is a better duo than Harden and PG? Sorry, than PG and Kawhi.
Regular season wise, Harden's probably better for the team. But we saw what happens come playoffs. We saw playoff Harden. We saw Westbrook. We saw we didn't see playoff B. And Kawhi died. So
Kawhi just wasn't there because he was hurt for most of it.
Yeah. This team
still Kawhi averaged 23 points a game. This is the what if team did fall apart for the reason of it being a what if.
And also, I'd like to say, this is ironic. If you check Mark My Words, our first 2 topics are exactly what we talked about in Mark My Words. Both wrong. And unfortunately, obviously, no, he's talking about the future. No. Oh, he never specified.
Eventually.
Specified.
Oh, wait, no? And then there's another one that's also wrong in that one.
Yeah, finals will be Lakers.
Will be Lakers Bucks.
Twin Towers real? Oh, that's about that
KD
can still happen.
KD could leave and go to the Spurs. I'm seeing it happening.
But with regards to the Clippers, I think that PG leaving would be a bad idea for PG.
Yeah.
A lot of Knicks fans that I've seen have been like, he should come to the Knicks. Horrible idea. I think he's a playoff
Knicks
choker.
Do not need more players.
I think playoff P is a playoff choker. I think that there's a reason he hasn't won anything.
Harden did not do that bad.
Harden did better than him.
He averaged 21 points.
He did better than Paul George. Paul George had a couple good games and then fell off. Harden played, I think, pretty good most of the series.
He had one bad game.
My issue is
with
the Clippers organization. You look at who the Clippers have on their team, and when it comes to role players, I really like who they have. Listen.
Yeah.
Right now,
Zubac was better.
Zubac is great. Terrence Mann is great. And we're at the point in time, Russell Westbrook is a role player. Russell Westbrook is great. I think what they have with them is good. I think that those guys should stay on the team. If not for the playoffs, then for the regular season. Russ will turn it up when he needs to. Paul George, Kawhi, and Harden, I'd say they should run it back one more year. That's a core. That's a serious core. And they have people around them. It's not like that's a team that needs to go away. It's just they played, unfortunately, the more driven and better team in the Mavs.
I think that they were still the thing is Harden came into the onto the team late.
Yeah.
I think this was just a get used to it type of time. And I think we could possibly see the Clippers do something better in a year or so.
I think everyone's going to stay on the Clippers, but I've been saying it's just because they're getting the new stadium, the new fans, the new environment, and they're going to need to sell tickets.
The fucking wall.
Star players sell tickets. We know this,
wall.
The wall.
I will say, Clippers Stadium looks fire.
It does
Like,
look fire.
It is.
And boys, next season, LA trip to go to a Clippers game. I would do it for the new
Yep.
stadium, bro.
Yep.
for the new
We
stadium.
have the money. The phone booth is so wildly successful that we can fund the LA trip to go to the
It's
Clippers
really
Stadium.
successful. Shout outs to the Sixers who haven't watched a
out
podcast
Sixers.
in 3 months.
Hey, you have to believe in them. They've been here. They've been here the whole time. All right,
They've been here. They've been on incognito.
they've been here, and they love it. They love
Okay.
it.
Fucking.
But I will say, how much further will the Mavs get in this playoff series?
Who do they play? OKC.
They play OKC.
They play OKC.
Honestly, I could see them making the conference finals, if not the finals. I think OKC is a young, great team, and I think like really all of my predictions are based off they're young. They beat the Pels, but the Pels were injured and old. Well, they're not old. They're in their prime, but without Zion, like that's not a team.
They're than the youngest team in the league. I mean,
and-
that's good. Coughs, asterisk.
They beat them in rousing fashion, and we'll talk about that later. You see them go up against people like the Mavs. Everybody knows that Luka is a playoff riser, a serious playoff riser, and they've seen Luka in the past, but they haven't seen playoff Luka. They haven't seen playoff Kyrie. Like these guys are going to be the guys who are getting it done. And you're going to have to deal with someone who's going to put up a triple-double every game and someone who's going to probably put up 30 next to that. And the real issue is if you contain one, they also have role players who can go off and do whatever they want. Daniel Gafford's been great for them. Derek Lively's been great for them. PJ Washington has been great for them. They had beef with the Clippers, and what do people remember about that? They remember PJ Washington, a fucking role player. Mavs, Luka and Kyrie didn't have shit to do with the beef. They were just kicking ass. PJ Washington was getting disrespectful, and you need a guy like that on a playoff team. I think that the Mavs are going to make a decent run this year, especially how they played against a prime veteran team like the Pacers. Sorry, excuse me, like the Clippers.
All right, so I would say let's get to this next wheel spin. Let's see what we're getting.
Bro, we barely talked about him. I feel like there
we're
are
barely
some
talking
things.
about the Mavs.
I think there.
Yeah,
I
we
think
we were more Clippers talk here.
I think
Can
there
I
is-
say something here? Can I
Yeah.
say something a little controversial? The reason we're talking so little about the Mavs is because the Mavs have so little. They really only have 2 elite level players. And while everyone else is good, they can be locked down by a team that has more stars, right? I look at OKC, I would take Josh Giddey over any of the guys on the Mavs other than
Isn't Kyrie or Luka?
Really?
other than Luka.
really.
Who do you think can beat Josh Giddey? Because Josh Giddey,
I think Josh
I would
Giddey
say
is
probably
overrated.
The third, fourth best. No, he's overrated in the sense that people are putting him like near the level of Shea or Chet and like talk about that like it's a big three. Like clearly he's not.
He's
anywhere near
overrated
as
in
good
the
as-
fact that he has good ball IQ and he can get to the rim from time to time. Horrible defense, has no 3-point shot. I think you look at a lot of the guys on the Mavs and they're better than him.
I don't know.
PJ
I mean,
Washington,
we'll see.
Derek,
We'll see.
Daniel
It'll all come out
Gafford,
in the
and
wash.
Derek Lively, all better than him. All of them.
I don't know. I mean, I think the Mavs know what they have in Kyrie and Luka, but I think they'll probably beat the Thunder. But I don't
I
think
think
they
it'll be
have
I think it'll be a
so
6-7
much to
game
talk
series.
about.
Listen, let's not talk about the future. Let's talk about the current Mavs and what they need to do. I think the Mavs are going to make a serious run. I think that we need to look more at their team. Like, who's really on the Mavs that we're forgetting? I feel like I am forgetting a big name on the Mavs.
And that's the crazy thing is you're just straight up not. It's like Daniel Gafford, it's PJ Washington, it's Derek Jones Jr. It's
Oh,
Derek
yeah, no, I
Lively,
am.
Josh Green.
I am.
Who are you forgetting?
Dante Exum. I know you guys probably don't know Dante Exum,
He
but
got 2 points in game 5. In game 6.
he's
against
gonna
the-
lock up.
the-
He's gonna lock up the other team's best guard. He's a seriously good defender. I think
I don't know.
he's better than Josh Giddey.
I mean, he got 1 block in game 2 against the Clippers, and that was the only block he had in the entire series. He got 1 steal
Damn,
in Game 3, and that was the only steal he had in the
Did
entire
I get
series.
gas capped
He's
by
been
Mavs
playing
Twitter to think that
at
he's really
max.
like that?
You
He's
just
playing
got
16
gaslit.
minutes
I got gas
in
capped.
the entire series. That was the most he played.
Damn.
He's not like a defensive mastermind. He's not a good shooter. He's not a guy that can get points. The most points he got in a game was 4 points, and I wouldn't trust him. I wouldn't trust a lot of the guys that the Mavs have. And hey, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they're all going to step up the minute we get to the semifinals, but I don't see it happening.
All right.
Okay.
I like
Yeah.
that. I like that take. I like that take a lot.
All right, let's get back to this wheel and let's see who's next.
Come on, let's get an Eastern team. We've been in the West for hella.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Before anything,
yummy.
Ryan, give us your analysis of this series.
Okay,
Give us your
so-
analysis.
Overall, it was a good series, but there's the caveat of no Giannis that entire time. Dame was there for majority of it, and that was it. So if we put that into perspective, Pacers did, I would say, well for most of it. They did get a little bit of a stinker in the first game, kind of like a training wheels thing, getting used to it. Dame time, it did happen, and Dame time happened for a good amount of this series. And if I say Giannis was there, I think there's a chance the Pacers would have been bounced in round 1, but they weren't. I think that besides that, Pascal Siakam was the main scorer on that team. I would say for the entire series, you did see some very, very good shots throughout the series from like Tyrese Halliburton, fucking I'm like blanking right now. 1 second.
Obi Toppin,
No, Andrew,
PJ
Siakam?
McConnell.
Yeah, Tim too. The only white player on that
Miles
team, I'm pretty
Turner?
sure. Miles Turner. He was more on like the defensive side of rebounds. He kind of threw up a lot of shots during the rounds. I would say Andrew Nembhard was one of the bigger parts of this team, and he put in a bunch of clutch shots,
Who?
especially in Game 2, putting in a clutch through the seal out the overtime. But
I'm sorry.
Also
Andrew
during these
Nembhard,
games-
I'm unfamiliar with your game. I'm sorry.
hey, I became familiar recently. And, hey, he got some game. All right.
Yeah.
But the main issue that I learned about in this series was this one man, Chris Middleton,
Yeah.
Ooh.
ended up becoming the
Now you
biggest
see.
fucking threat
Now you see.
on that entire lineup.
Well, that's common
During-
for him.
It was terrifying, dropping 40 points in Game 2 and Game 3. He was averaging like 20 something points a game. Let me pull this up actually.
This is why I will always say, and I'm not sure how much more your analysis was gonna go, but this is why I always say I think the Dame trade was a huge mistake. I think that you have two guys who can score the ball in Giannis and Chris Middleton, and especially when they get in the playoffs. We all forgot that in 2021, these guys dropped 40-plus points a game to seal it in Game 6. Both of them. These guys are playoff risers. Chris Middleton especially, because he'll put up serious stinkers in the regular season. Have you questioning why Chris Middleton is getting paid as much as he gets paid? Then he gets right to the final. He gets right to the
Then he
playoffs
dropped
and he steps
40,
up.
30, and 25 in a row.
Exactly. And unfortunately for him, I think these great performances are being undermined by the fact that Giannis has been injured 2 seasons in a row in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Twice in a row.
What
Last
was
year
the
against the
culture this
Heat,
year?
I don't remember. Last year against the Heat and this year against the Pacers. And I think people will call for the Bucks to rebuild. I don't think they should. I think there's one thing that they should do, and it's fire their head coach. I think that Doc Rivers
is.
I think this will go down as the biggest mistake in Bucks franchise history.
I
Call
think
it.
that
Mark
Doc
my
Rivers is
words.
the main reason
Mark my words.
that they lost
Doc
that
Rivers will
series.
not have a job next year. Mark my words.
Hold on. I have a better one. To put in there.
The most exciting point in the podcast where 2 of the managers are typing. Shanghai
Sharks. All right, so here's what I'm saying. You look around at that team is built for the playoffs. They have Brooke Lopez and Bobby Portis, two centers who can shoot from range,
Yeah.
who are the exact people you need to put around Giannis at the big man position, because they're both great defenders and they stretch the floor. Giannis does not stretch the floor, but if he's getting to the rim, you need two people on him. So someone's going to be open. It's the perfect team for it. Dame coming in, I think listen, like I said, I think Drew Holiday is probably the better option. Not a bad trade. I think Dame put up 35 in one half. Obviously, he's a playoff riser. I've been sleeping on him all year. I've been talking shit. Like, yes, he is a playoff riser. You put that next to Chris Middleton and Giannis, and you're going to see serious shooters. He might need to take a back roll. I think Giannis's biggest mistake was coming out at the beginning of the year and being like, this is his team. Because it's not his team. It's your team. And you need to fucking make sure he knows that. You need to make sure, you and Dame are on the same page. Dame is going to take a back roll to the guys who have been there longer, who are better than him.
Dame averaged 31 points that series. It was Dame time.
It was Dame time. It was Dame time. But when you got Giannis on the court, listen, you're going to need to take a sort of back roll, just like Chris Middleton. And if you guys are struggling to get his ass into the paint, guess what? Now you have two ISO guys who are going to get it done from anywhere. And then when they're focused on them, oh, yeah, you forgot about Giannis, huh? Is that one defender in the paint? Giannis is coming down 300 miles an hour. Bang, right to the rack. I think that the only thing that the Bucks need to change is their head coach. Head coach.
Yeah, but who's the original head coach that was actually just not bad?
I
don't know why they just didn't.
I don't know, but with him they were 30-13, and they were saying he was doing a bad job, which blows my mind. I don't know how you could go 30-13, and they're like, yeah, he doesn't have the locker room. What?
It's because those 13 losses
Adrian
should have
Griffin.
been far less. Everyone at the start of the season was expecting that Giannis Dame duo to immediately put them first in the East, and when that didn't happen, everyone immediately blamed it on the coaching staff. So coming out of the All-Star break, everyone forgot that was the expectation at the start of the season, and so they gave Doc a lot of leeway when it came to the team, thinking that his ring and playoff experience would help this squad come actual time, which is kind of weird when Giannis already has a ring. But
no, it was Mike Budenholzer, I think.
I'm pretty sure it's Adrian Griffith.
Oh yeah, I think it was
because he had the beginning of the year and then he got fired.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was.
Real talk. If I'm the Bucks, I'm bringing him back. 30-13 to start your career as a head coach is a great record. They were on.
But it should have been 40-3.
They were on the way to being probably a serious contention team by Phil Jackson's 40-20 rule.
It's probably a 2 seed.
Definitely a 2 seed. Respect to my Knicks, but boys, with all the injuries we got this year, we wouldn't have been the 2 seed. We would have been the 3 seed.
Surprise.
But we would not have been the 2 seed. We look around the league. Oh, you know what? Nah, I'm not gonna do my league recap. Let's switch to the Pacers. And you talk your talk about the Pacers. I would like to talk about the Pacers. I don't want to talk about the round between. I don't want to talk about predictions until later. So I'm just gonna say first things first. Great job on Indiana adjusting the role of Halliburton. I'm sure I was watching. Pretty sure he was having a bad series, and by the end, it looked like he really understood what his role was. He needed to shoot more. He started shooting more. Started averaging more. Pascal Siakam, perfect person to put in that offense as a guy who, he plays defense, but he's also a playoff performer. Tried and true, ringed up, second best player on that Raptors team. They're gonna come together and hopefully rise in the next round. I'm looking forward to seeing this series.
For Hallie's first ever playoff series, he averaged 16-9.
That's a good. That's listen,
not horrible.
Under what I expect from him, but it's not bad. And hopefully, going into that next round, we can see some more of that great point guard play that we're used to.
Yeah. Also, I just want to say, I know all season I've been saying, the Pacers are a bad team with 3 players. Come the playoffs, they now have 3 players that you can expect for 20 and 3 players that you can expect for 15. I would say that's
good.
Better than
that's really good.
That's just
players that can drop 30 or 40. Like the Pacers look like a full
that's just a
squad
team
against the Bucks at every point. Yeah, I know. And
They have something called a
I'm
bench.
Very impressed. I know it is a bench, and it goes pretty deep. You know,
Hey, that bench stretches.
It's not like 10 deep, but it's pretty deep.
It's like a good 5 deep. Like,
Yeah.
and hey, for a young roster where the oldest player is, I think, Pascal Siakam and Miles Turner, it's a good team. It is a younger team overall.
It is a younger team.
That's
And
what
I'm
I was
impressed they got it done in 6. By the way,
I thought
this
for sure it
series
was
would have
going to
gone
7.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to 7.
Because Giannis
they,
didn't come
like,
back, right?
Stomped him.
No,
Yeah,
Giannis could
didn't
not come back. Giannis was hurt the whole time.
They stomped him in Game 6. Like that was a commanding Game 6. They showed that they didn't need Game 7, and not even like they didn't like squeak it out either. That was like very genuinely impressive by the Pacers.
Like after the first night, won 3 in a row. I would say this game 3 was a little bit of
They didn't lose a game at home, right?
No.
I think that
Oh no, they did it. Yeah, they did not lose a single game at home.
I think the Indiana home crowd has to be tough to play in front of, especially since they're all from Indiana. Like
Yeah.
these guys are hardcore diehard Pacers
Who's
fans.
traveling?
I'm gonna be real. It's probably one of the hardest environments to play in. You look around,
Besides
everybody's
the Celtics.
all yellow. I was gonna say besides the Garden.
but
But we'll get to that later. We'll get to that later. No.
Can't talk about that.
Well, let's talk about crowds later because let's be real. There's one crowd that really won the fucking series. But I digress. I think that the Pacers have the potential to go on a run.
Oh, that's so hard.
That's all.
Oh, that's clean.
That's what I'm gonna say. They have potential to go on a run.
No.
What about you, Desmond?
Holy shit.
Oh, I think.
That's
well, I mean,
dedication.
What do you want
dedication?
about?
Oh no, I'm pulling up. When we get to the certain series, I'll put a picture into the chat.
Oh, word, yeah.
Of-
Okay, all right.
I would
Well,
say
I'm-
my favorite crowd.
I'm gonna say, I mean, going up against the Knicks, we're not there yet. I'd say the Pacers have like a decent chance of pushing them to 7, but I don't think they're gonna make it to the. Yeah, I don't think they're making it
Conference
to the
finals?
conference finals.
That's why I said that. I think they have potential to make this series really
Ooh.
interesting, but I don't want to talk about my predictions until we get there.
Yeah. Yeah.
You guys want to wheel?
Yeah, I say we wheel it up.
All right, let's see. Come on, wheel. Come on, wheel. Okay.
Oh.
Lakers.
Nap time.
Everyone's favorite.
So,
The ball made a shot.
who wants to start us? Should I start us off?
Go for it.
The Lakers need a full rebuild. Full. I mean LeBron gone. I mean AD gone. I mean Rui, AR. Full rebuild. The way I look at that series is LeBron is your team. LeBron and Anthony Davis. Yeah, Anthony Davis had a great series. But outside of that, they are so inconsistent and so shitty. Shut up. And like everyone besides Bron and AD are the most inconsistent players in the world. And it's looking like last season's playoff run was serious luck. Like all of them got hot at the same time, and then they faced the Nuggets and took the L. This year they saw the Nuggets in the first round, took the L. They took a game off of Bron and AD because they wanted to show that they're the best players. And for what it looked like, it really did look like Bron was the best player in the series. Still, at 39.
LeBron is it's LeBron. Come on.
But if I'm
mean-
that Lakers organization, I'm blowing it up and getting some picks. They had some youth like Max Christie, and they haven't used him at all. And I'm sure his window for improvement, or at least starting improvement, is fucked. Like he'll be a good role player somewhere else. But
LeBron averaged 27,
This-
8, and 6
yeah,
at 39.
at 39, he's still the best player on the floor. Well, that's not true. Jokic was definitely the best player on the floor.
Jokic was the best player
But
on the floor,
LeBron-
but the best Laker.
LeBron being the best Laker at
AD,
39, he's the
27,
best
15, and
player
4.
on his team. And he's the
I mean, that's the goat.
Anthony
we are-
Davis averaged the same
Yeah, but
He's the
exact
goat.
let's be
points.
real. At this point in his career, Kareem is the second or third option on the greatest Lakers dynasty of all time. LeBron is 39. He should be in the same situation. He should be the second best player on the team, and there should be no shame in it.
It's easier to make a center your second option than it is to make your power forward or your small forward or your like
Point guard, or
I don't know.
your shooting guard.
I don't think that's true at all.
Tough.
LeBron does all those.
No,
Listen.
it's tough because the way that Kareem played was like you kick him the ball, he does a sky hook. You needed a young, dynamic point guard in the form of Magic there, and it was easy when he was running the show. Like the Showtime Lakers ran through him, and obviously they had like James Worthy and other greats, but it's very hard to say like LeBron can take a second seat unless if you get like a new, young, dynamic guard that should be like D'Lo, but clearly he wasn't stepping up. So
here's my thing with LeBron,
Miles,
and this is why I think he can be the second
Anthony
option.
Davis averaged the same amount of points and just did more rebounds.
Then Jokic, right?
Then fucking LeBron. So
yeah, but he didn't average anywhere near the assists, right?
It was 4 assists.
Dude,
compared to 6.
Yeah.
Listen, give AD the credit. Good job, dude. You stepped up during a playoff series.
AD was the
I'm
second
proud
best
of you.
player.
He got outplayed by Jokic. If you want to be the best player in a series, you have to be the best player in the series. You
4
can't.
blocks in game 1.
That doesn't matter. They lost. Listen, this
lost
is what you need to see.
bad
AD
every single game.
AD is going to go to another team
Yeah,
and win
won.
another championship. If you
No,
see,
he's not.
oh really? You wouldn't want AD
Win
on the
another
Celtics? Like, be honest,
I kind
you
of
wouldn't.
wouldn't. No, I would rather have Angus.
All right,
Like,
let's look around the league.
AD was getting bullied a lot by like Aaron Gordon and Jokic, which shouldn't
That is
happen
true.
if you're supposed to be the elite
The
level
DPOY.
center that he is.
Well, here's the other thing. Here's the other thing. Anthony Davis isn't a center. He's a power forward. And he's been played at a center by Darvin Ham his entire career with him. This is another issue. You can blame coaching, but Darvin Ham was 100% right when he says, I think I'm getting blamed a lot when my starting point guard is going out there and putting 10 games up straight of stinkers. Yes, as a head coach, you should never say that. As a head coach, it is your fault. You need to take accountability. That's why Darvin Ham's obviously not going to get another coaching job. But he's right. You can't have a starting point guard who's going to come out and put up 2 points a game after promising you in other places. He averaged what? 20 and 5. Like, you're expecting that level of production from your point guard. So when he puts up 2 points a game, it's not your fault. You can't say that, but it's not. Darvin Ham isn't going to get another coaching job in this league for a long time. If not ever. Like, he could probably go to the Pistons right now because he's a better coach than Monty Williams. But he's only a better coach than Monty Williams because he doesn't say anything, and Monty Williams, when he does say something, he makes the wrong call. I think there's a lot wrong with the Lakers, and the only way to address it is going nuclear on the organization.
Yeah.
Hold on, look at the 4 picture just put in chat.
None of those matter at all. I do not care where Anthony Davis goes. I don't see him fitting on any team anywhere. Being completely
honest, the Lakers
honest,
is the one team he fits on.
No, he didn't. He doesn't even really fit on the Lakers.
And
he needs to be like a role player 6-man. Like, go to the Clippers. Be a off the bench option for the Clippers. I cannot imagine him as like an elite starting level guy. No, I can't think of a team in the league that is willing to risk it all to get Anthony Davis right now after the performances we've seen out of him since the fucking bubble ring. Like, there is no, that is the only thing that I legitimately think he can do is just go to the Clippers, drum up hype on the retirement home squad. Like, that's all I can think that he would be useful for.
This is an actual for me on this last one.
I just disagree with you.
It's not horrible.
I haven't seen elite level AD. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't watch like early 2010s basketball. I don't know why everyone says he's so great. I haven't seen him on the Pelicans. I haven't seen him be like truly godlike elite. I have only seen him lose basketball games and complain and claim that he should be better than he is and everyone should respect him more than they are respecting him. They are using past accolades to try and like boost him up. Current level of success is very low. I don't think Anthony Davis is an option that is sought after on many teams.
You don't think a team is going to trade for Anthony Davis? Like, if you're the Suns, you wouldn't trade KD for Anthony Davis.
No, I would rather have KD than Anthony Davis. I would rather have I don't know. I would probably rather have Rudy Gobert than Anthony Davis because that's an actual decoy. I would rather have Cat than Anthony Davis.
Okay.
I would rather have a lot of players than
I think
Anthony
this is
Davis.
just genuinely hating
There are a
now.
lot of elite level
it comes
big
from
men
it
that
comes
can
from a
do
real place,
everything
though.
that Anthony Davis is saying he can do. Everything that Anthony Davis is saying that he can do are done by other big men that aren't going out and crying to the media and complaining that they're not getting the options and complaining that they should be in these massive conversations for DPOY or MVP or stuff like that, where Anthony Davis just wants everyone to think that he is
Good at
arguably
basketball.
the best player on that team. Like, he wants people to think that he is the god on that team, and he's just not. And maybe it's because he should be playing power forward. Maybe he should be in a different position on the floor. Maybe teams should be playing him differently than they currently are. But just seeing how he's playing now, I don't see it.
I respect that. Now let's switch from the Lakers to the Nuggets. I think can I be honest?
Yeah.
I'm not too hot on the Nuggets after that series. I'm not.
Really?
Yeah, they got it done in a fast way, but the fact that they even lost a game to that Lakers squad is sending serious red flags and doubts in my mind. Jokic is obviously still the best player in the league. Jamal Murray put up a couple games where he didn't score. A lot of their role players were looking very sloppy. I think they're still on the path of success. I think they're going and moving forward on this train that, yeah, we're the champions, and yeah, we're probably, everyone thinks we're going to go back to back, but I'm having some serious doubts. When they run into actual competition, are they going to be ready? They just ran into the G League Lakers with LeBron and Anthony Davis. Their team was complete ass outside of those people. Are we going to see them do anything? You lose a game to such ass, it reflects poorly on you. We'd be having a completely different conversation if they swept them. I would be standing here saying, guys, it's pretty obvious that they're going back to the finals. But dude, it's hard to say that when you lose a game to one of the worst squads in the playoffs. And they have arguably the worst coach in the playoffs. You are fighting with so many advantages and all the negativity going towards them, and you still let them take a game. I don't know. I think that
Maybe the Lakers win game 4 through just sheer willpower, right? They just didn't want to get swept by the Nuggets 2 years in a row. And that's very plausible. But you are right. The Nuggets really don't have a bench.
I wouldn't say that.
Who is coming off the bench for the Nuggets that's
Braun.
making an impact?
Braun is making a serious impact. Let me look through. Because my issue is I don't know these players' names off the top of my head, but I can see them.
Maybe Reggie Jackson, right?
No, Reggie Jackson is one of the people who isn't. DeAndre Ayton, listen, he hasn't been playing good, but I think that veteran guy off the bench, huge W. Christian Braun, very, very good. But you know what? Outside of that, yeah, it is tough to say. I didn't like Reggie Jackson's play. Zeke Naji, I'm not sure a lot about this dude. I'm not even sure if he played. When I look through these people, you see KCP, you see Gordon, you see Jokic, you see Jamal Murray, you see Michael Porter Jr., and you sort of get blinded by that starting lineup talent that you forget about the bench. And I think this year in the playoffs, a lot is to be said about the bench when you look around the league, especially about the guys that we're talking about who are winning these series. The T-Wolves, incredible bench. The Pacers, incredible bench. I think these guys who have a good starting lineup and a good bench, a balanced team, you're going to see them make it farther in the playoffs this year because if you're playing your star 40 minutes, we're not in a league where he's going to be the only great guy on the floor. Like if you look at past series, yeah, you can get away with having a bad bench if you have a couple stars on your team. I think we're in a league where that's not possible. What do you guys think?
I kind of see what you mean in that, where it looks like we need, like, if the Nuggets want to make a deeper run, Jamal Murray has to just kind of not put in these inconsistent games where he kind of puts in stinkers. And well, the thing is also with that team on the Nuggets, they have they have that third guy, Michael Porter Jr. And I think that they have a little bit of leeway that they could like kind of get away with like one of the players underperforming, but someone like Jamal Murray underperforming shouldn't be like this.
And side note, I cannot believe that the Knicks picked Frank Ntilikina over Michael Porter Jr. Please continue. Please continue.
Old demon just dragged itself out of Miles.
Bro,
that one was personalized.
So here's my lore with the Knicks. You know what? We'll talk about that when we get to the next series, and I'll explain to you the lore. So continue.
But I think that the Nuggets can get out of this round too. But I can't make predictions. I can't make predictions. We can't talk about this. All right, no. All my Nuggets talk will happen when we get to predictions.
Bet.
That's when it matters. I think, in my opinion.
Boy, should we go back to the wheel then?
Well, hold on. We haven't even mentioned like the most important part of this playoff series. The Nuggets were trailing by double-digit points. Correct me if I'm wrong. In every single game, like in every single game, they
in almost every single game.
Yeah, and by like 20 points, by 12 points, by 15 points, like serious deficits that really should not be happening.
Did I not mention that when I was talking about?
No one mentioned it. Because it's such a given to us in this series that like we didn't just bring up the fact that the Nuggets were really trailing bad in a lot of those games. And yeah, they still like willed the win into existence. They still did that because they were the clearly better team. But the fact that they took their foot off the gas to that extent, even in like the first and second quarter when they're not resting their starters, serious problem on my end for this team.
I think
like
you're right
that
about
just
that.
goes to show. That just goes to show when Jokic is putting up his most productive in like the third quarter, in the fourth quarter, when really that should be your role players, your bench stepping up and like stopping the gap in between your starters. Like that's where you're sort of reevaluating the fact that like some teams have the actual sixth man of the year and a deep bench like your T-Wolves, like your Pacers. And then the Nuggets now have to play Jokic for all 4 quarters, all like 12 minutes, just to make sure that he's not letting the lead get completely out of hand for the other team.
Okay.
All right, wheel time. I by the way, I completely agree with you. I'm going to be speaking more on that in predictions.
Cool.
Let's see.
Wheel.
Okay.
The only series that went to 7.
Only series that went to 7, and I don't know.
Anybody watch
Orlando Cavs?
For a team that didn't for a team that's never seen the playoffs until this year, I was impressed with it. They were able
Orlando?
to fucking and also it showed how much a home team mattered, how much that home field advantage matters.
Yes,
in the series.
We saw 2.
Is this the game you were talking about when you were saying this is where the home court mattered?
Yes.
Yeah, for me, yes.
This series was the whole reason.
I said
that matters.
I think this goes, my prediction. I think in the what's it called special, in the plan special. I think I said this will go to 7, and home court is going to determine who wins.
And it did.
For me, going through this series, I'm a Cavs hater because I'm a Knicks fan, and my Knicks beef only runs so deep. I will talk about that more in predictions just to explain lore, but for me, I think you see this Orlando team as the team of the future now. You take Pablo Banchero, who was putting up LeBron-like numbers, playing like LeBron. You take Franz Wagner and Mo Wagner giving hell on both ends of the floor. You're looking at their depth in their guard play. Markelle Fultz, Cole Anthony, Jalen Suggs, all playing great. Jonathan Isaac is one of the best stretch defenders in the league, where he can defend anyone and shoot the three, which is a crazy combination because while being 7-1, horrible at getting to the rim. You see a team that looks like they might be the future. Wendell Carter was playing the best defense of his life. We have a serious threat in the East. And while this year wasn't their year, this year is definitely a year where you look at them and you're like, you know what? We have something good here. I think what they need to do is get some veterans. I will say that. I think that not having the same amount of veteran depth as the Cavs leaves them short-numbered at times. You're getting new guys who haven't been put in this situation. You want for next season guys who have been in that situation. Like, I don't know exactly who, but you want to get some veterans on that team. That's my only criticism. They played incredibly. It shows that the future there is very bright. It shows that their contention days are coming soon. It's only a matter of time. I like this Orlando Magic team.
Yeah.
Great analysis, you guys.
I guess
I was just listening.
Sorry, I wasn't entirely sure. If I could throw my 2 cents in, I think it's pretty impeccable that the Cavs won the series even after one of their big pieces in Jarrett Allen got injured.
Yeah.
I think it's really impressive that, you had Donovan Mitchell stepping up, that you had everyone playing very tight and, staying on top of things. I will say it's very funny that the series was just dedicated by home games. Like, there was such a massive difference where it felt like the first 2 games were blowouts and that the Magic were going to get crushed. And then the Magic come right back and then they crush and blow out the Cavs in response. Mm-hmm. It was a very back and forth series. Arguably the least interesting, since all of the games did feel like blowouts for one team when you were watching it. Mm-hmm. And even then, come game 7, I thought at least the Cavs have won every other game at home, so they're probably going to win this one too. And then they won it. Really, good stuff by the Cavs, good stuff by the Magic. It's like we've been saying, the Magic are the young squad that are going to be good in the East in 2 more years.
I would say
you're
one
probably
more year.
Right. Maybe 1 year, maybe I don't know.
I wouldn't say 1 year. I think you need to let Paolo develop.
Well, depends on the vet you bring in. You are right. If you bring in the right vet, not KD.
If you're bringing in a star, then it's feasible that they win next year. But I think I don't think that star trade needs to be made next year. I also don't think that contending teams are built in a day. I think we're looking around the league at people who are playing it like fucking 2K.
Yeah.
You can't just trade for a star and expect your team to win without any culture. And I think that's what we're going to see this year in the playoffs, is that culture is what's going to win.
Mm-hmm. That is true. But I will say, Ryan, the one jersey swap thing that you posted that I did think about and consider for a few minutes was the LeBron and Bronny Magic jersey thing. That, if that happens, that's going to be really interesting. Putting one of the best young forwards with the best old forward, with Bronny also on the team, very interesting to think what could happen if you have Bron, the GOAT, next to this young dynamic forward in the form of Paolo.
And there's
very interesting.
There are guards who can mentor Bronny there as well. Markelle Fultz, I think, is the perfect example of coming into the league and underperforming and then finding your role in the league. Having a guy like that next to Bronny who is so underhyped and hated for no reason, that would be a great guy to teach Bronny the way to come into the league, because people are saying he already has that level of guard defense, that Drew Holiday defense. And if he came into the league and found his offensive step, he could look like D Wade. I don't know how true that is, but
I think that one's very interesting to think about.
Yeah.
That's one of the locations now that I'm actually seriously thinking, wouldn't it be interesting if Bron went to, and now the Magic is on that list.
One thing I do want to say about the Cavs, shout outs to Donovan Mitchell. Without him, they're not winning.
Oh yeah.
Instead of what he did against the Knicks last season and shrink when the pressure grew, like after game 2, it looked like Dono wasn't there all mentally. They got destroyed in the next game. So he was putting up he had a game with 0 points in the playoffs. It's good to see playoff Donovan back. I think he has a Brunson issue. I think he's scared of Brunson because that's twice in a row where you're playing Brunson in the final in the first round of the playoffs and you got cooked. But this year, you were the best player in the series. You played it wonderfully. I think that Dono is going to have a great run. And when we get to predictions, I'll talk about how I think they'll fare against the Celtics.
Ooh.
Wheel time?
That's all I have to say.
I didn't watch the series. I watched
a bit of it.
Yeah.
I don't want to say much about it for something I didn't know.
You have the floor, Desmond.
Oh.
You have the floor.
I gotta say, I am amazed that the Celtics play like the Celtics, even when it's so comically easy for us to win, right? Like the fact that in game 1 we had like a commanding dismemberment of that Heat squad, and mind you, sure, it's the Heat without Jimmy B. We tore them limb from limb, scattered them across the town. It was a statement game 1, saying like, we can beat you with our eyes closed, with our hands tied behind our back. We're not even gonna try in game 2. And then they beat us in game 2 because we did all this because we were acting bigger than we were. It's amazing to me that the Celtics can't just play 4 straight games of winning basketball. That we need to have an amazing blowout dismemberment victory, then only to just suck so much in game 2. The game 2 is the most worrying thing for the playoffs going forward for the Celtics. And it's the same thing that happened last year against the Hawks. It's the same thing that happened, every other instance of this current Celtics squad. We think we're already winning the championship. We probably will, right? I mean, the curse is real, and I'm still standing by that. But that the Celtics lost game 2 in what should have been a commanding sweep, like just cast out all the demons, actually embarrassing for our squad. And then we went and we crushed them in the next 3 games. None of them were even close. They didn't score 90 points for the rest of the series. That's how dominant we were. And sure, it was a Heat squad without Jimmy Butler, but honestly, I don't think Jimmy Butler would have made a difference if he were to have played. It would have been a lot closer. There would have been a couple more games that would have gone over that 100-point barrier. But the fact that the Heat were only able to achieve 100 points once in the entire series, the fact that they were only able to go over 90 twice in the entire series says a lot about our defense. It says a lot about how skilled we were at shutting down what was a dynamic offense. Bam was great, charging through the paint. They have a lot of shooters where every time it got kicked out to them, I was holding my breath thinking there goes the 3 and it would sink. Every time it did happen for some games, didn't happen for some. They were cold on some nights, hot on others. Very interesting series when you're thinking of like a Celtics mentality going into the second round, and just kind of disappointing that it's not a sweep. That is all.
Looking at the Heat, recently there seems to be some beef going on between Pat Riley and Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler came out and said if he was on the floor, the Celtics wouldn't have gotten a game, which I also think is complete bullshit. I think that recently Jimmy Butler has become insanely overrated. But
it really got to his head last year.
It did, bro. It did. He talks about winning a lot for someone who hasn't. So when I stand here and say that I think a Heat rebuild is coming, I mean it. And I don't think it's out of necessity. I think Pat Riley is looking at Jimmy Butler and being like, let me calm you down, bro, because you're not like that. Jimmy Butler, one of the best players in recent memory, obviously bringing the Heat to the promised land twice and losing both times. You talking about winning when you are not there for arguably the most important series of your team's fate. Let's be real. that was their fate sealing series. I think that the Heat are 100% going into a rebuild. And I think we only see one or two players on this current Heat squad stay. I think Bam is staying there. I think he's perfect for Heat culture. And I think Caleb Martin is staying. He's perfect for Heat culture. Oh, and Jaime Jaquez.
Tyler Hero. Whoa.
No, I think Tyler Hero's getting traded. I think it's been 5 years of Tyler Hero. We've been hearing about how great he is. And yeah, he had a great finals performance, but listen, Jimmy carried you guys to the finals without you last year, and you couldn't even make it out of the first round. If you trade him, I'm not going to say it is a rebuild more than a retool, because while I do think Bam is going to stay there, I also think Bam's going to be there for his entire career. I think you need to be bad to be good, and I think Bam can be the best player on a horrible team and give them play-in level seasons while they're getting better. I think if they're smart, Hero gets traded for another very, very good shooting guard, but one who's tried and true. I think
Devin
you get
Booker?
no. I don't think that'll happen.
Would matter.
If it did happen, I would like that though. I think Jimmy Butler's going to get traded, not just for picks, but a different star. I think we're going to see star for star trade. Doesn't happen a lot, but with how Jimmy Butler is, like, if I'm the Heat, I want to keep contending. Like, there's no reason for us to not, when Bam is arguably the defensive player of the year. You have guys on that team who step up time and time and again. I think you need to give them the right pieces around them. Ironically, I don't think this Heat team is building around a star player. I think they're building around incredibly... that's not true, because Bam is a star. I think they're building around a second guy right now. I think you need to put the right guys around Bam and find the right guy to put next to Bam, just like Jimmy Butler was. Jimmy Butler was the right guy to put next to Bam, but it doesn't come in place. And if I'm the Celtics personally, I'm not trading Jimmy Butler, but I think out of pettiness and out of anger, Pat Riley will do it.
That is true. I do think Pat Riley is one of the guys to give that up. And I wouldn't say Jimmy's a locker room cancer, but he was talking a lot of just trash, where, like, if he was playing, it would be fine. But him, and this personally for me was, you know how last year Jaylen Brown had his whole, like, don't let us get one thing, and then they got one and they took it to 7 and they almost beat the Heat.
Yeah.
When Jimmy was saying that as, like, the joke, like, after game 1 or after game 2, like, it's crazy that he was able to go out there and say that and be that confident in himself when he's not playing, and sort of put the Heat in an unfavorable position where after that, like, the Celtics actually just tore them apart, scrapped them for metal, like, just completely broke that team down after that. Like, Jimmy kind of did set up his team for failure in that moment, in that sense. If he was playing, maybe everything would turn out differently. You know, maybe he is like that, but I just don't know.
I'm not saying Jimmy Butler isn't like that. I'm saying that Jimmy Butler is definitely like that. I'm saying he's been to the finals multiple times. Yes, he hasn't gotten it done, and that's why I think he's overrated. Don't get me wrong. I think Jimmy Butler is probably a top 10, if not top 5 player in the league come playoff time. Sorry, come playoff time, definitely top 5, just normally top 10.
Okay.
But I don't think for the Heat he's the right guy. At least right now, I think he's had probably the best run you can have with a Heat squad that is very immature, mediocre. Very young. I wouldn't even say mediocre, just young. They were not experienced when it comes to the playoffs. But now's the time where you need to make that transition. Bam's experienced now. Jaime Jaquez just had his first playoff series. Granted, he played very well. Caleb...
He put on role player numbers.
It's Caleb Martin, right? Caleb Martin had a great series. You have... players who are having great time. I don't think you should have traded Kyle Lowry. I think that was a bad move. We watched him play insanely good on the Knicks. I think you need to keep those winning guys, and I think if I'm Pat Riley and I'm really angry, I'm trading Jimmy Butler. This is the way I'm doing it. And let me go out and say one more time, he should not trade Jimmy Butler. He should not. I just think that he is going to. How do you feel about it, Ryan?
It's going to be a stupid decision.
Yeah.
I think that like Jimmy Butler not being in that playoff series is obviously it's a big
Huge.
problem. It was, I would say, the biggest problem with that Heat team, losing someone that had that much impact on that team. And I think that if they did have Jimmy Butler on that team, I don't think they would have won the series as much as I wanted it to, because that'd be funny as fuck. I think they would have taken them at least a 6 with Jimmy Butler being on that team, and it would have been a lot more closer games
That's
compared
fair.
to the bloods that we saw.
Because I think
Yeah,
I
I
think
mean-
him and Tatum are like what the Eastern Conference rivalry is. Like right now, you could argue Brunson and Embiid, but you see
That
these
was
guys.
pretty legendary.
In
You
the
see
playoffs
these guys.
multiple times.
We'll talk about
and
it.
bounce each other
Yeah,
multiple times.
They have been the kings of the East. It's either Boston or Miami, except for in 2021.
Yeah.
We've seen these guys be at each other's throats forever, and it seems like if you can beat them, it seems like it's destined this decade that one of them will always come out of the East. This year, I am unsure. Let's spin the wheel.
All right. Yeah, 2 more spots left. Which series are they?
You know what, guys? Can I make the executive decision that we talk about Thunder Pels before Knicks Sixers? I want to end on the best series.
But what about the wheel?
Listen,
Spin that wheel. Spin the wheel.
we spin the wheel, guys. We had to remove it.
No. Spin it. Let it
Okay,
spin.
I'm not
we did
spinning it.
spin the wheel.
We
Alright,
spin it. You saw it got removed. I spinned it.
I removed. Wow.
It's been so quick that we never saw it.
Mainly, the reason I want to talk about this before the Knicks is, in my opinion, this is status quo. I feel like everybody knew that this was going to happen.
Hold on, let me pull up
well,
the best
After
looking crowd.
game one, I really
I
thought it
don't
was
know,
going to
after
go.
game one.
It was going to go far, but game two just kind of showed me like, oh, like they're not even in their
Yeah.
fucking league.
Truly electrifying game one, though. We watched that live.
Yeah, and I really
as a
thought
pod.
the Pels were going to win for a second there. I thought I
All
was
I'm
like,
saying
maybe-
is, here's my entire view on this. This is the best crowd. In like look at that. Look at that crowd.
That is.
It's fire how they look, but we'll get back to this discussion next
Well, yeah, this
spin.
is Oklahoma City. Like, come on.
Yeah, they're
This is
known
what
for
they
having
chose.
one of the best crowds in.
This is one of the best. And the thing is, look at like they put T-shirts on every single chair for
Yeah.
every single person.
They knew.
Like, you don't
Did
see
that
that
in New
shit.
York too. But anyway, I think let's start with the negatives. The Pelicans.
No Zion.
Is it time to be done? And if I'm the
What do you
Pelicans,
mean?
the answer is yes. With Zion.
Who do they-
With Zion.
No,
Zion-
right?
So
Zion
He,
was just-
he got them there throughout the entire regular season.
yeah, bro, he got him
It's
to the
a freak injury in the
He
play.
got him to the 8th seed. Like, let's really talk about what we're talking about. Zion has been consistently injured and has been consistently holding the Pelicans back when it matters most. If I am the Pelicans,
Zion-
I'm looking around the league for who wants Zion.
Where would he go?
I don't know. But if I'm the Pelicans, I'm trading him. I'm sorry. It's a liability. It's a liability to have on your team. If not trade him, let him walk in free agency. That's not a bad option for them. Go sign someone else. I think that Zion is kind of crippling them. The Pelicans are in a bad situation where they really do need homegrown talent because people aren't asking to go to New Orleans. And if you're a star player and you're looking around, like you're looking at the Lakers, you're looking at the Warriors, Boston, Miami, now maybe New York, but if I'm a free agent in the league and I'm looking at contending teams, the Pelicans are not my option, especially with a star player who doesn't play. Brandon Ingram shrunk in the playoffs. Shrunk again. This is the second year in a row this happened. So do we trade him too? I would. CJ McCollum had a great series. He's old as hell. I would trade him too. I think you have to keep Herb Jones. I think you got to keep a lot of that young talent. I think you need different stars with those role players. And that's the truth.
I will say this about this series. If Zion is not injured, I would think that they undoubtedly they win game one. And then they probably win game two. Because seeing how badly Chet was getting bullied in that game one, I mean, if memory serves, Valanciunas was kind of mopping him up and
He
down the
was.
court. So if you put Zion in that spot, like Chet is actually gone. Like Chet cannot, if he can't stop Valanciunas, right? Everyone's like, oh, Zion's too fat. He is arguably too fat, but
He's
he
Charles
is
Barkley,
also
bro.
a gigantic body. Like Chet is a thin, like spindly, like he gets pushed aside, he gets manhandled, he gets shut down, he gets killed by Zion if Zion plays Chet. And I am remiss to think that if Zion wasn't on this squad, like they wouldn't have gotten here. And if it wasn't for the fact that Zion gets injured, they probably upset the Thunder here. They got to the 8th seed, but Zion showed how elite he was throughout the regular season. And now come playoffs, I think it's desperately sad that they lost game 1 and that they basically that took the wind out of their sails. If they were able to win game 1 without Zion, that's a statement. They could have stretched for time. They could have done something in 7 games. But the way that it went, I mean, just a clean sweep and shutdown by the Thunder. Pretty brutal for Zion, I have to say. Because if people are saying this is Zion's fault for just being Zion, that's, I don't know.
It's
You
Zion's
don't
fault
believe in
for
it?
being injured. You can't be the best player on the team and never play. I'm sorry, man. This is like a Greg Oden situation, bro, where I'm looking at a guy who's supposed to be the best guy on the team, but come playoff time, he's never there. This happened last year too. Like, how are you gonna have this happen twice in a row and not blame Zion?
It's just tough, because he really should have been there. It's just like freak injury right before he dominated in the play-in, and now he gets like thrashed around like this. It's really tough because arguably they should have been in a better spot in the regular season to not even be in the play-in, but they only get to the play-in because of Zion.
Yeah.
It's tough where Zion showed how elite he was this season. He showed why he still matters. At points, I was completely shocked to find out that Zion was still this good and that he actually deserved to go first overall, all that. But now it's just tough because he just can't do it. I mean, he's just not active enough. He's not playing enough. If he played, I think everyone knows the series would have gone differently. But it's just unfortunate that they lost game 1, and it's unfortunate that Zion wasn't there. Because if he was there, Thunder probably get taken to 7, probably lose. And even if the Pelicans win game 1, I think that throws the Thunder off just enough for them to maybe get a bit more shaken up in like 7 games. But I just don't know.
So it pretty much like Zion not being there was like that big scoring factor. I agree where like it comes to like if Zion was there, Chet's impact would not have like been as
Yeah.
prevalent, I would say, compared to like as it was during the series. And I feel like Chet would have underperformed. I still think the Thunder would have won out of that series even if Zion was there. Zion would have probably taken it to 6 at least, though, in my opinion, instead of it being swept.
Yeah.
Fair.
But I don't know. Game 1s, those are all mental. That in my mind, game 1 makes or breaks a series, and we'll get to that in a second with the Knicks.
Should we just start talking about it?
Ollie.
All right. When I was a young man, I did not like any sports. I ran track. I didn't watch anything. But I saw this meme of this guy freaking the fuck out about Tingus fucking Pengus. And I was like, bro, who the fuck is this guy? 2017, I look at the Knicks and I'm an instant fan. Carmelo Anthony is one of the coolest players, coolest guy. Like, goes out there and just stunts every night, and I love it. There's this giant Lithuanian guy who's shooting threes, bro, and no one else in the league has this. This is new. And you look around, and there's no team with these cool dudes on the team. Like, I'm pretty sure by now Amari's off the team, Tyson Chandler's off the team. So it's like nobody really great, but those two guys are like all I'm watching for, all I give a fuck about. And within 2 years, Within that year, Melo's gone, and within the next year, Kristaps Porzingis is gone. During that time, we draft Frank Ntilikina, and the next year we draft Kevin Knox over Michael Porter Jr.
Mr. Fortnite.
I am
Mr.
saying this
Fortnite.
because I've been through a lot as a Knicks fan. And right away, usually when you start watching a team, they're pretty good. For me, they were okay and became ass immediately. But like a lot of other people, I didn't leave. I stayed. I said the Knicks will be good one day. We heard the Kyrie, KD rumors. They're both coming to the Knicks. Broke my heart. Neither of them did, and they went to the Nets. And for a while, people were talking about the Nets like they were the team of New York, and that made me so upset. So when in 2021 we got Julius Randle playing like an all-star, I was elated. That year we lost to the Hawks in 5 games, and it broke my heart again. I watched the 2022 season in absolute shock as RJ Barrett, Emmanuel Quickley, and Julius Randle play the worst basketball I've ever seen as a Knicks fan. And it's not because, yes, we had worse seasons with worse coaches. It's because we just went to the playoffs and I had an expectation that we'd be back. And when you see RJ Barrett's, Emmanuel Quickley, and Julius Randle, these guys who are the core of your team, do horrible, it destroys your heart. But then, out of nowhere, as if destined by God, I check on the team that my old favorite player used to be on. He's not there anymore. He's on the fucking Wizards. And there's this kid named Luka Doncic who I think is probably the best player in the league, but he's injured. That 2022 season, there's this kid who I really like watching named Jalen Brunson. And he takes 2 games without Luka. Luka's injured. He takes 2 out of the 3 games he's playing against the Jazz. And they win that series and they send the Jazz in the rebuild. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, hey, man, it would be really cool if the Knicks got that guy. Let's fast forward to the offseason where I get the Woj alert that we're signing Jalen Brunson for $120 million. I am so fucking hyped that we got Jalen Brunson. I'm going around telling people, yeah, we might have overpaid, but this guy is going to change the Knicks. And no one believed me. That season, the Knicks are the 5th seed behind the Cavs, and everyone is predicting a sweep. And we gentlemen swept the Cavs. 5 games we beat them. Granted, we lost to the Heat that season. Oh my God. The best season I've seen to date has been this season. There are some pieces that I didn't mention that should be mentioned. Josh Hart, Isaiah Hartenstein, great, incredible signings. We drafted Mitch Robb during that process where we were horrible. And for a while, I thought Mitch Robb was a bust. He was injured all the time. Recently, he's been incredible with injury. We have the best center core in the league. We trade for Josh Hart halfway through that season, and this guy is the biggest dog I've seen in a Knicks uniform. He'll do everything for this team. And then this offseason, we go and we sign Dante DiVincenzo. This kid, Deuce McBride, he's one of the best players I've ever seen. We had to sell some of the farm and Quickly and RJ Barrett, but we got back an all-defensive player and the guy who really put this team together. I have forgiven Randall for that 2022 season where he sinned against all Knicks fans. He looked in the stands and he gave us a thumbs down, and that pissed me the fuck off. We come to this series, and I'm proud to be a Knicks fan. Jalen Brunson had 2 horrible games to start the series, and it didn't matter because we won both. Back to back. We won both games at home. Joel Embiid's dropping 38. He goes on to start talking shit about Knicks fans and that they should be up 2-0. Guess what? They win the next game, and I'm shocked. The game after that, you'll never fucking guess what happens. There are more Knicks fans in Philadelphia than there are Sixers fans. Let me repeat. There are more Knicks fans there than there are 76ers fans. We win that game. We lose the next one in MSG in heartbreaking fashion. And then we go out to round off the series at home. Jalen Brunson plays like the best player in the league. And we do all of this without Julius Randle, without an all-star, all-NBA caliber player. So when I say to you that I think the Knicks are destined to have a finals run this year, I'm not kidding. I think we're the only team in the league where you see players get injured and the guys off the bench not only step up, but they fill exactly what we wanted that team to have. We wanted these players to be. We look at OG Anunoby. We look at Precious Achiuwa. We look at Bojan Bogdanovic. Precious Achiuwa locked up Joel Embiid in the fourth quarter. He had 0 points in the fourth quarter when being guarded by Precious Achiuwa. OG Anunoby puts up some stinkers, yeah, but he also puts up 16 and 14 when it matters most. Josh Hart has hit the most clutch shots out of anyone in the playoffs. Miles McBride is the exact spark off the bench you need. That quick, dominant point guard who is going to lock up the best guard on your team. I'm sitting here before you guys telling you that the Knicks are going to the finals this year. Listen, you might not agree, but should the 76ers have been a 7th seed? No, they shouldn't have. They should have been probably a 2 or a 3 seed.
That's if Embiid didn't tear his meniscus, though.
You're right.
I would say if Embiid was healthy, they were probably a 3 seed, and I think the Bucks would still be a 2 seed if they didn't fire their fucking coach. If Adrian Griffin
so in
wasn't
this
fired.
reality, they would be the 2 seed, and the Knicks would be the 1 seed. Sorry, and the Knicks would be the 3 seed. But here's what I'm gonna say.
No, if the Bucks are still there.
Well, if the Bucks, we're not talking about.
The Sixers don't self-destruct.
The Sixers.
The Knicks for the 4 seed.
We're looking around at this league, and it's time. The Sixers. I'm sorry, bro. Joel couldn't have been that injured if you're putting up a 50 bomb, bro. You couldn't. You were good enough to play, so I'm not gonna take that away. Yeah, I understand that Joel was injured. He couldn't even fucking blink. But you have people on your team, and you're blaming everyone else. I think Joel Embiid is the biggest bitch in the playoffs and tried to intentionally hurt our players. Elbowed people in the face, stepped on Josh Hart's leg, injured Mitch Robb intentionally, and we still beat them.
Well, no, how about the security guard that he just kept fucking pushing? That he might get suspended for a little bit.
Oh, he better get suspended. We have a serious team, and we're looking at the future like it's nothing. I think that this Knicks team is the best Knicks team I've ever seen in my entire life, and I think we have the potential to win it all. That's what I take away from this series. And as my analysis for the 76ers, you guys are bums. Goodbye. Tyrese Maxey, you have an open invitation to the Knicks. All the rest of you, bitches. You complain to the media. You bitched about everything. Everything that went wrong for you in this series, you talked about publicly. When Brunson had 2 bad games, he went to the media and said, I need to play better. When you had 2 bad games, Embiid said, we should be winning. It's the ref's fault. That's the difference between this Knicks team and the rest of the league. Do you guys have anything that you want to say, or?
I was watching a good amount of the Knicks series just because my dad's a huge Knicks fan. And I'm watching it and texting my dad's texting me, watching at the same time, talking to him about it. And if you take it besides the 2 Jalen Brunson stinkers, where I would say you saw the rest of that team kind of build around it, that was a phenomenal series. So I don't think the Knicks will be able to get past a team like the Celtics in the long run.
Really?
Which is a sad truth.
KP still out?
They do have 3 weeks to.
I would say it's going to be harder for them to beat the Cavs. It's going to be a serious. You know what? We'll talk about this when they get to the predictions. But I'll tell you why I think the Knicks are going to beat the Celtics this year. And it's purely through dominant big men and the best point guard in the league. I think OG Anunoby can lock down Jason Tatum. And I've seen it. They played all of their starters in the third to last game of the year when they didn't need to, and we wiped the floor with them without Randall. So what's stopping it from happening again?
Yeah.
The fact that it's the playoffs and we care.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's definitely. You guys didn't care because you didn't play all of your starters the game before, but you did against the Knicks. I don't know.
We played all our starters in game 2 against the Heat, and we lose there, even though we're so much better.
Do you
we
want more
blow
coffee,
them out
buddy?
in every other game, dismantle them, and yet, all of a sudden, we lose in game 2 because it's all about mentality for the Celtics. The Knicks had the winning mentality the whole time. The Celtics do not. When we meet in the playoffs, if we meet in the playoffs, it will be different.
All right. On to predictions, and we have to make this.
Well, hold on. I mean, we didn't even talk about the series that much. We didn't even talk about the games.
What else is there to
Game
talk
1,
about?
Yeah.
Let's
the
be real.
insanity, the shots DiVincenzo's putting up. I mean, you're saying like broad statements. We're not going into the minutia. How actually insane it was that DiVincenzo was hitting those game winnings.
DiVincenzo was the X factor on that
multiple
team.
different game winners.
I think he was the
I
X
mean-
factor on that team.
It's Josh Hart. but it's
Truly,
okay.
truly.
Yeah.
Josh
Okay.
Hart,
I don't
Josh
know.
Hart put up double-digit rebounds every game, and he's 6'7".
Yeah.
That's insane.
So, I mean, just a crazy series. I work at a Buffalo Wild Wings. I have never heard people cheer that loud for anything. I mean, the reaction when they won.
Okay,
game
so you're
1,
saying that like not the
Insane.
Giants beating the
not the
fucking
Giants. It
Vikings.
was
wasn't
louder
there.
than when the Giants beat the Vikings, and that's something else. That is truly special. I think New York is standing behind the Knicks for the first time in a long time, like truly believing in this squad. I do think they have the potential to go the distance. I'm not going to rule that out. And, you know, a lot of great performances. You have like 30-point bombs and like just crazy production coming out of why am I blanking on his name? Miles, what that guy name?
Who?
The guy you traded for from the Mavs. I'm blanking.
Jalen Brunson?
No, Jalen Brunson. Thank you. I just forgot his name.
Are you dead
Jalen
ass?
Brunson. I'm dead ass. It's like it blanks, man. I don't know. Sometimes I forget what Tom Hanks looks like, man. That guy's in every movie. What am I gonna do? Sometimes you just forget things, man.
That's fair.
Brunson, crazy. He is the Eli Manning equivalent of New York icons of sports in the 2020s. Really, really amazing series. And this is coming from a Celtics fan, but a man who can appreciate New York sports.
I rock with that.
Yeah.
But here's why I think we need to go on to predictions is because we've been doing this for an hour and a half.
That's true.
way
Well,
long.
this was the special.
It is the special.
Like, you
It
knew
is the
that.
special.
We knew
This
what we
is
were getting
special.
into.
Yeah, but I need to write a speech today. So,
Okay, well, we only have 4 games to do predictions for.
Yeah.
So should we start East or West?
Let's start with the East. That's where we're all
East,
from.
probably.
So Knicks
Well,
Sixers
do we
is
save the best for last?
Oh yeah, you're
mind
kind of
you-
right.
sorry.
Yeah.
We're all East heads.
We're
So
all-
let's go
we're
to
all
the
East
West.
fans.
Let's go
We
to
all
the
have
West.
opinions.
So when it comes
All right.
to the West, we're looking
Nuggets,
at
Wolves.
Nuggets Wolves.
That's
with
gonna be the
none
best
of
series, I think.
With none of the information that we have now, because they did play.
Yeah. They
I'm
did play one game.
if
I
I
think
were
it's
to
gonna be
make a
Nuggets in 6.
prediction, I would say, honestly, with what I've seen from the T-Wolves in that last series and what I believe the Nuggets lacked in the first series, T-Wolves in 7.
Whoa.
I think this will be the best
That's-
series in the entire playoffs. So
I do.
Like, I'm gonna say
well,
that
not
right
in the
here.
entire playoffs. I think who comes out of this series might win it all. And here's
Yeah.
why. Here's why I think the Wolves are going to win though. When we look at the Nuggets beating Nikola Jokic in that squad in 2020, what do they have that it was hard for Jokic to do? They made it hard for Jokic to do anything because they had 3 incredible big men who could switch on to him. And right now we're seeing the exact same thing. We're seeing Jaden McDaniels, Naz Reid, and Rudy Gobert locking the fuck up out of Jokic.
Well,
And
no,
that's what I'm predicting.
yeah. I think that when it comes to like experience, I think that the playoff experience will take over in this point. And I think it will be a very close series, but I think the Nuggets will be able to pull out in 6 games, just overall.
Okay. What about you, Desmond?
I think that
Oh, wait, no, keep
I
going.
think that game 1, Nuggets might lose it. There's a chance.
Allegedly,
Chances might lose game one.
Maybe
Allegedly.
If
If we only had
it
some
appeared to
sort of
me,
knowledge.
it appeared to me in a dream that
In a
they
dream.
did.
Yeah.
Was
Yeah, in a dream, they do lose in game 1. But I think that after that game 1, the Nuggets will understand who the fuck they're playing, and this isn't no cakewalk like last year. And they will start to play like they played last year, and show that dominance that they were able to like show that they had from the 2023 season. And they could pull out a nice 6-game series.
I mean, Miles, you said it earlier. This is all about mental state, right?
Mm-hmm.
All teams in the league are affected by mental state come playoffs. I think the mental boost of Anthony Edwards coming out of round 1, having literally swept and embarrassed one of his idols, one of the greatest of all time.
Who
Just
Anthony Edwards,
coming
by
off
the
of
way,
that.
comes out and calls his greatest of all time.
Yeah, yeah. Like, just clowning Kevin Durant. And making Devin Booker look like he just picked up a basketball for the first time. And just insane how good they were in round 1. You take that red hot, even white hot ball of fire that the T-Wolves just got, and you pin that against a Nuggets squad that is coming off of a championship, that does now have a ring, have all the playoff experience, have all the non countable stats that you would want out of a championship team. But you also add in the fact that they lose a game against the Lakers. They don't sweep their first round opponent as everyone expected. They had those moments where they go down a lot in those games. It's very tricky for me to say that the Nuggets clearly sweep the T-Wolves. It's tough for me to even say they win in 7. I think, personally, the Nuggets will win out in the end. But I think the Wolves have a very, very convincing argument to say they could even go as far as to sweep the Nuggets. I think that could happen. I didn't think they can. They can. And I think it's very interesting to see. This will be the most watched and most talked about game in the second round.
Yeah, that's completely agreeable there. All right, so the other one, OKC Mavs.
I think we're going to see OKC in 7. And here's why. I think that the Mavs playoff experience is going to give them the distance. Like, get them to go to the distance, but I'm not sure if they're going to finish it. They might go for speed as well, but that's for a different topic. Luka and Kyrie, I think, match up very well offensively against Shea and Giddey. It would be a different situation because I think you need Chet and I think you need J. Will to lock up the big men. I think that they're not really a threat all the time. And yes, you can double them. But if you're going to double someone, I'm expecting a lob to come out of nowhere and they're going to dunk it. They remind me a lot of Lob City. They have shooters. They have run and dunk men. And they have their version of Chris Paul, who is arguably the best player in the league. So you're coming into a series with a young team versus the best player in the league. I think it goes to 7. I do think that OKC has the advantage because I think all around their team is better. So OKC in 7.
Like, I don't know. Looking at like this series, I think that just like having the experience of being in the playoffs from Luka and Kyrie will go into a big part of this series. Mm-hmm. And I think that we'll see the Mavs be able to squeak out in 7 games. Like they'll barely get out of that series. It will be a very close series just from the shooting capabilities and then the paint dominance with Chet. And I don't think anyone can defend Chet on the Mavs side really that well. I think we'll see Chet like kind of like step up in the series, not like how he did last.
I agree.
Against the Pelicans. But I still don't think they'll have as much as an answer to really guarding Luke and Kyrie effectively.
Can I interject?
Mm.
I don't think it's about guarding Luka and Kyrie. I think it's about guarding everyone else. I think that Luka's gonna get his and Kyrie's gonna get his. I think that you got to make sure you get yours, and you got to make sure no one else gets theirs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I will say this. When you look at it, you have a team with 2 30-point players and 3 10-point players versus a team with 2 25-point players and a handful of 10-point players. I would rather have a team that doesn't rely so much on 1 or 2 dominant players and can get that efficiency and that productiveness from external sources. I think Miles, you hit it exactly on the head there. If you let Luka get his 32, if you let Kyrie get his 30, and you just have to lock down like the rest of them, you see a lot of games that'll end in low to mid 90s versus OKC, where they'll be able to push their max to like 100, low 100s, and that's going to be the difference. It's going to be a very back and forth game where Luka's going to be scoring like crazy. Kyrie is going to be scoring like crazy. You're going to see a lot of triple doubles from them, but you're going to see a lot of silent but dominant double doubles from OKC, particularly like boards. They're going to outboard them.
They're
going
to get outboarded.
System for sure. I mean, there's a lot going on with OKC as like a team rather than the Mavs. So while Luka does have the MVP skill, while Luka does have all the intangibles and all the counting stats, I think he is going to lose this, and I think it's probably going to be OKC. I'll say in 6.
All right. Okay. Now let's go to the East, where let's start off with a no-brainer. Cavs. Let's go to a no-brainer. Celtics in 5.
You say it's a no-brainer. I'm not too sure.
You say it's a no-brainer.
Celtics in 5. They will let up 1 game.
Dude, they're
retarded.
missing Porzingis. And as I've said before, Porzingis
6.
is their key to a good
Al
playoff
Horford
run.
is the GOAT.
Here's the issue that I see with the Celtics. They're incredibly 3-point reliant. One thing that the Cavaliers do better than any team, interior defense and defense in general. Besides the Knicks, I think they're the best defensive team in the league. If you guys are going to drive, you're going to see Jared Allen and you're going to see Evan Mobley, and that's tough to see in the paint, bro. That's tough. Mm-hmm. Your threes might go in, but think about who their perimeter defense is. Even Evan Mobley can play serious perimeter defense. And then you got to see Donovan Mitchell. You got to see Caris LeVert. These guys are great defensive players. Even Darius Garland, he's going to harass your guys for steals. Jason Tatum, yes, they have the better players. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. I think both of them are better than, you know what, maybe not Jaylen Brown, but Jason Tatum is leaps and bounds ahead of Donovan Mitchell as a player, but still, that scoring output is going to be hard for them to defend, and they're not known as a good defensive team, at least to me. I think we're going to see Celtics in 7. I know I've been saying a lot of in 7s, but maybe even Cavs in 7. I think this series can really go either way. Wow. I think the absence of Kristaps is going to be a lot bigger than people think. And I think there is a possibility that the Cavs win this one out just because they're gritty and they're grindy and they're ready.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the Celtics are going to go down in the series 0-2. We're probably going to lose game 1, right? And then we'll probably lose game 2, and that's all mentality. I think the Celtics going into this are a little shaken that they don't have KP, and I think we're a little more shaken in the fact that we think that we're going to beat the Cavs handily. So when we lose in game 1, we're gonna kind of shake in our boots, and when we lose in game 2, we're actually gonna like seriously hone in. We're gonna have that shared mentality. I think we're gonna win game 3. I think we're gonna win game 4. I think we're gonna win game 5, and then I think we're gonna lose game 6. It's gonna be 3-3. I think it's gonna be Celtics in 7, but I really do think that it's all about mentality, and I think we're gonna give the Cavs such a big boost to their own mentality by going down 0-2 that we might even legitimately go down 0-3 again against an inferior opponent and lose. And it's not just because we don't have KP, because the Cavs, and I don't think Jared Allen is back already, but we're both missing 2 elite big men. And now we're kind of getting those second options. I would put Jared Allen over Evan Mobley personally. but having the sort of Al Horford versus Evan Mobley, I think they're fairly evenly matched. I think the teams will still play.
Stop.
What?
I'm not
What?
gonna let you stand here and say that Al Horford is evenly matched with fucking Evan Mobley. Evan Mobley is 7'1". Old man Al is 6'10". Defensively
6'11" with shoes
and
on.
offensively, Al Horford is outmatched.
Al Horford steps up in the playoffs. He did last year.
That is true.
And he probably would have this year too, if it wasn't for the fact that he could take a load off. He could give all of his requirements to Kristaps Porzingis. Now that KP is out, I think it's going to take Al Horford a little while to get his groove on, but he'll eventually get there. He'll eventually realize that he has to step up if we have to win the series. If we go down 0-2, I think KP's timetable puts him back for the end of the series. So hopefully that happens. Hopefully KP comes back and is that X factor. But at the same time, Jarrett Allen would be coming back toward the end of their series too. So, it's going to be pound for pound, blow for blow. But I do see the Celtics going down really bad at the start to the point where everyone's saying, okay, well, here comes another sweep for the Celtics and the Celtics can't get it done. And then we're going to barely manage to squeak out. And then we're going to act like this wasn't a challenge for us and it was just because we lost KP. I think even if we have KP right now, we'll still probably lose game 1. And it's all about mentality. We undersell our opponent in a very serious way. And so I think that's our biggest weakness as a team, is just the fact that there is no winning mentality. We're not like the Knicks where we're, going in and playing gritty basketball where we need to win every single possession. The Celtics can take a 3 and miss because we know that we'll make another one. Meanwhile, I think a team like the Cavs is shooting every possession like they're men on fire and they need to make that shot. So that's why I think it's going to be Celtics in 7.
Okay.
What about them Knicks, huh?
You should go first on this one, Desmond, as the unbiased one.
Yeah, you are the unbiased person. You're the unbiased person.
Bye-bye, Knicks. Bye-bye, Knicks. Pacers and unbiased. I don't know. Knicks have been pretty good. They have a lot of X Factor guys. The Pacers, I honestly, legitimately, I forgot they made the playoffs. I'm going to be honest. So in my mind, I think it's kind of a miracle that they beat the Bucks. I think it's very impressive that they did. I think, Tyrese is hungry. I think he wants it. I think they're great that they were able to get so many mid to high 10-point performances out of a bunch of people as opposed to just having one 30-point anchor. And that I think is going to be the difference for it. I think it's going to be a lot more spacing and a lot more challenging to build a defense around a team that isn't relying so heavily on one individual. I don't know if the Pacers really have an answer for Jalen Brunson, but I think it'll probably be Knicks in 6, maybe Knicks in 5, probably Knicks in 6 though. I think the Pacers are going to give them a real run for their money, but not like a game 7 run for their money. Just a challenge to push them to 6.
Now, the thing is, I'm going to be realistic here. I think the Knicks will beat us out in the series just because of experience. This is, besides Pascal Siakam, this is a very fresh team that hasn't seen the playoffs.
But Miles Turner was in late bubble.
Oh my God! How could I forget? Oh, I'm sorry. Take it all back. Pacers and.
But no, just being realistic, I think that the Knicks will beat the Pacers out in 6 games. It will be a good series, but I don't think it will be the best series in the entire playoffs because the best series will still be Nuggets T-Wolves. That's what I think. I think that the Knicks will beat the Pacers out in 6. We'll see a few good flashes here and there, but it won't be consistent.
Knicks in 5. I think that the Pacers are too inexperienced. I think that Jalen Brunson and the rest of the team is on a warpath. And I think we've seen time and time again through this season that the Knicks have been the better team whenever we've played. I think the one win you guys have against us is when Randall and OG and Mitch were out. And we're going to see 2 out of the 3 of those guys back. And I think you guys have a lot of great offensive pressure, but we have one of the great defenses in the league. And your big men are going to be scared of Mitch. Everybody's scared of Mitch. I don't mean like scared of him, but hesitant because of him. As we've seen all series, you see Mitch getting as we've seen throughout the playoffs. Mitch on Embiid is a story as old as time.
Pacers have 2 and 3 in regular season.
2 and 3.
Yeah,
Because
season.
of what's it called? In-season tournament, right?
Really quick, I'll let you finish your prediction.
I believe that both the times you beat us, we were heavily injured.
Let me look.
I think you're gonna see a performance from Brunson like no other, mainly because two things. One, the Tyrese comparisons. Tyrese got over him on Team USA. I don't think he likes that at all. And then Coach Carlisle sat him Game 7 of the playoffs against the Warriors instead of letting him keep playing, and they lost that game. So I think this is more of a Jalen Brunson series than a Knicks series. I think there's going to be a vendetta. I think that the Knicks are going to step up and play around him, but I don't think that the Knicks are scared of the Pacers, especially with Halliburton being a little bit stinky in the playoffs. I say I say Knicks in 5. I think all the games are going to be close, though, but I do think Knicks take all of them.
Okay.
I gotta say, it is kind of funny that the Lakers won the in-season tournament, right? Like, looking back on it, wasn't that really funny?
They had one of the greatest starts to a season where they were playing actually great. I think they were like a 2 seed maybe at the beginning of the year, and everyone was like, oh my God, the Lakers are going to be one of those teams. They won the in-season tournament, and they just crashed.
And you know what's crazy? A coworker of mine at Buffalo Wild Wings came up to me and he was like, yo, Desmond, I think that the Lakers are going to beat the Nuggets, and I think that if they do that, LeBron can win another ring. He said this to me in full confidence, being 100% serious before Lakers-Nuggets game 1. It baffles me because everyone knew that the Lakers were going to lose, right? Yeah. Like, how do you have that opinion? And I'm sorry that this is completely derailed and I should have brought this up, but I would be remorsed if I didn't say, like, that's just insane that any human could legitimately think that.
Call him out. Who said that?
That is not. Shouts out to Aaron at work. Shouts out.
Word. Shout outs to Aaron. But ladies and gentlemen, that is all the time we have. Thank you for joining us for the playoffs.
Wait a minute. No quote debate.
It's one of the specials.
Bro, it's a special. We can't talk about the quote debate in the special. Come on.
It's already in Mark My Words. It's gonna happen. They know.
After the season ends, when we get to do a little more fun things, like we're gonna put a bunch of.
Let's stop talking about.
We're gonna put these NBA draftees into a tier list. Okay.
All right. Thank you guys for listening. Shout outs to the Sixers.
Hey, Sixers are always there for us. All right.
This is the time of the year that gets me most excited. I'm loving it. We should go to B-Dubs one of the Knicks Pacers games. We should definitely. They play tonight. So I will. I'm not gonna be in a Discord call tonight because I'm gonna be with my dad.
Yeah.
But we should definitely watch. Maybe when the Pacers are home, we should do that.
Yeah.
Once again,
it's still crazy to think that for the same amount of money it costs to get a courtside seat ticket for the Knicks, it costs the same amount to get a plane ticket, a Marriott hotel, and the same exact ticket for a Pacers at home.
Costs less. It costs less. It doesn't cost the same. It costs less.
It costs less, and you get all that still for the same price as one ticket. You get the plane ticket there and back, the same basketball ticket, and then a hotel.
Thank you guys for watching. Bye. And
that's the play-in special.
That was the round 1 special. We did it. We did it.